Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Kahalo, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bahara Kakadash, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash, Barakatham, double honors to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth, sincerity. Another sincere, blessed salutations to the innumerable multitude, the weak that amongst tears, the women and children that follow the truth, sincerity. This is a lesson I wanted to go over. I want to read this quote. For copyright reasons, I'd rather just read it than just play the video. It says, you have to master a new skill, but you're avoiding it because it's like you have to master a new skill because, but you're avoiding it because you know you'll be bad at it when you first do it. And if you're a perfectionist, you don't want to be bad at anything or seem like a fool. But the problem with that is, if when you try something new, you're always a fool. And unless you're willing to be a fool, you won't try something new. But you're worse if you're worse of a fool if you don't try it at all. You know. So within this quote, you go into the word fool is in the etymology is silly, stupid, or ignorant person. Okay, madman, insane person, idiot, rogue, gesture, blacksmith, bellows. It says leather bag, windbag, puff cheeks. And then when I started reading that, it kind of went into the sense of, okay, when you go into puff cheeks, it reminds me of the statement of blowing hot air. And when you go into the statement of blowing hot air, it says if something that someone says is hot air, it is not sincere, and you'll have no practical results. So, there's different connotations of being a fool. Even within this quote, it says, when you try something new, you're a fool. But if you don't try nothing but you're even worse of a fool if you don't try nothing at all. So there's a good sense of being a fool and there's a bad sense. And what determines that good sense and a bad sense is the purpose. Okay. If it's vain, if you don't try to let's see here, Salakia. I meant to get this Salakia, it cut off for me, but I could just connect the audios. But one thing about this truth is that this truth, this understanding does connect to the truth because we are always ever learning. You know what I'm saying? And we're not in the sense as the scriptures say, ever learning, not unable to come to the knowledge of the truth. We're not under that category as men of the Lord. We're ever learning and we're ever growing. Okay. So when you go into the scriptures to prove how the Spirit works. So we're going to go into the book of St. John chapter 7 and 38. Okay. And it says, he that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Okay. And just for edification purposes, I read the NLT too. It says, anyone who believes in me may come and drink, for the scriptures declare rivers of living water will flow from his heart. So when you're talking about waters, as we have gone into multiple times, that water, the rivers of living water is always flowing, is always going in different directions. Okay. And so there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4. Okay, it says, he that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. So in the NLT, it says, farmers who wait for the perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. So, in relations to that quote, in relations to this truth, if you're waiting for that perfect moment, you will not execute. If you're thinking too much and you're trying to, like I said, as a perfectionist, you're not trying to mess this situation up. You want to get it right the first time. But in all reality, you have to take into account that you're not going to get it right. There's nothing that you've ever tried, even as gospel, teaching. There's no way you did this when you first did it and you got everything right. You know what I'm saying? We are sincere when we go out there, but we've been hot-headed, We've been, not knowing how to explain things in a better way, and you learn as you go. When you deal with scoffers, hey, scoffers help us, get better. You know what I'm saying? Because they do what? They when they come out and break something down wrong or insinuate something that's wicked, what we go do? We go study and gather the scriptures and details and come and provide a lesson for the flock, and those who want to be edified through the rebuke of those who break things down wrong. So within that sense, that's how we grow. You know what I'm saying? Through scoffers, through studying, through experience, but if you're not willing to engage, you'll never get that experience. As we always go into, matter of fact, I'll go into myself, Okay, going to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 34, verse 9, it says, "A man that have travelleth knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom." So what happens when you travel? You go through things, you get familiar with the area. So when we're going through like the highways, the experience of being on the highways and byways, the experience of sitting and studying, the experience of dealing with all these things, the more that you go through, the more that you have wisdom in that area. All right. So it says, "He that hath no experience knoweth little, but he that traveleth is full of prudence. When I travel, I saw many things, and I understood more than I can express." So it'll tell you, I oftentimes is in danger of death, yet was I delivered because of these things. So it's showing you, through those experiences, you learn things. But if you're trying to get that situation right, you're trying to get the most perfect case scenario, and you're not willing to engage because if you don't have it right, then you feel like you're gonna fail. But at the end of the day, within His gospel, the Lord will protect us. Long as you're sincere, you're pretty much free from failure. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're sincere. But if you're if you're pretty much, hey, let's get to scripture. So once we go into the book of 2 Timothy 2 and 5, says here, "And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully." Okay, and when you go into the etymology, not the etymology, Salakia, the Strongs for the word mastery, Salakia, I'm looking it up right now. And if a man also strive for masteries. It's Strong's G 4735. It says, "To encircle with a crown, to crown the victor in a contest, to adorn, to honor." So that's going to, the crown portion of it. See here, see if I can go to the root. See, yeah, it just goes to crown. It really don't go into the definition of mastery. It's not connecting it. See if I could get the perfect past participle. Simple. You know what? I just look up the word mastery in the etymology. It's like it. Then open up all my apps. Yeah, iPhone finicky when you're looking up stuff, and you're trying to, if you open up an app, it'll shut everything down if you ain't open up that app while you're doing like a voice memo, man, which is annoying, So the word mastery goes back to pretty much, great skillfulness and knowledge of some subject or activity, So when you're striving for the masteries, you're striving for greatness in that pocket, So within his gospel, you got speaking, you got brotherly love, you got charity, you got knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you got, your virtue, your conduct, you got the laws, you got all kind of different examples. But at the same time, you have to strive lawfully. Okay. But you can't be afraid to strive. Okay. It's just the same as you're a lot on the highways. For example, say you're a brother that just, let's say you're a young brother on the highways and you're holding signs and you have a desire to be a teacher, but the negative connotation or the negative sense of it is you want to be a teacher because you're looking at the person next to you and you say, oh, I want to be like him because everybody listens to him. Everybody sees him. When somebody walks up, they're talking to him. When he's on camera, he's the man. That's the you're not striving lawfully, to speak at that point. You're really trying to, you're not striving, you're not striving lawfully. But, you can have a godly jealousy to where you're watching that person, you're like, wow, you know what I'm saying? This, this person is changing things. They're helping. I wish I can do that, and I aspire to do things like that, to be an able body and another person just like him, because I want to help like that. That's when you recognize the significance of what that person's doing it for. And that's just like with the apostles with us, and scoffers tend to try to demonize the rhetoric, and say, oh, y'all mockingbirds, y'all yes men, y'all this and that, but no, all of us brothers, we're one body and we aspire each other to be better, but it should never be in a sense of competition or questioning yourself, because of course some other brothers have more gifts than other, because everything comes from the Lord. But at the end of the day, when you see one brother going into something and your spirit is wooed to say, oh man, I want to go into that. There's nothing wrong with that. Unless you're doing it in a sense to say, oh, I want to be seen like him, going into Jonathan. So like, I get the scripture. Okay, so when we go into the book of First Maccabees chapter 6, this is an account of striving, but not striving lawfully. First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 43, it says, Eleazar, surnamed Savaran, perceiving that one of the beasts armed with royal harness was higher than all the rest, and surpassing the king, and supposing that the king was upon him, put himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name. That was the part that was the negative connotation. He was doing it for a name and not solely to deliver his people, and that's why I like to say as a term, don't mix righteousness with nigger shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it never pans out well, So yeah, you can say you're doing it for the people. That's what it seems like, but internally you're trying to get a name for yourself. Because if you look at it in these times, these men, Judas and John and Simon, they were going bananas. So it's like, oh, like my turn, but you're not doing it to do for the right reason. You're doing it for a carnal reason, for self glory. Okay. It says, he says, verse 44 says, put himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get himself a perpetual name. Wherefore he ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle, slaying on the right hand and on the left, so that they were divided from him on both sides, which one done crept under the elephant and thrust him under and slew him, whereupon the elephant fell down upon him, and there he died. Howbeit the rest of the Jews, seeing the strength of the king and the violence of his forces, turned away from them. Then the king's army went up from Jerusalem to meet him, and pitched his tents against Judea and against Mount Zion. So pretty much, he wanted to get a name for himself, and he broke rank, pretty much to kill that to that main elephant to get a name for himself. So everything ain't worth getting a name for yourself. Your actions and the way you carry yourself will be your name. You don't have to do a glorious moment, because at the end of the day, it's really about, when you're talking about having a perpetual name, it's really about consistency, not about, I won $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Or I did one, fabulous lesson. It's about how consistent you are at doing lessons. Then you'll be known for who you are, by who you are consistently, not by the sensationalized highlight of your life. This is not like, people, that's what people think, that they'll be known by their highlights. It's really by the consistency. History records highlights, but at the same time, you're renowned for the consistency of who you are, in those, Salakia. So going back, I don't want to digress, that's why I said Salakia. But, going into, just attempting things, what I'm saying? Which I mentioned in the bad sense, you don't want to strive for the masteries except you strive lawfully. And when you strive for the masteries, you want to be perfect. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be good at something. But you have to understand, in order to be good at something, you got to be bad at it first, and you have to be willing to go through that back when we was in the world, you had, when you was getting dreadlocks and stuff, which is off. But, when we were getting it, we call, when you get in that middle phase, you got the little twisties, that's cool. But then you go through that ugly phase to where it's like medium and it's long, but it's not long. You ain't got, so it's that phase that a lot of people don't want to go through. That's why a lot of nigga women probably don't want to go through the ugly phase of growing their hair, and they just throw on wigs and try to jump to the end and end up destroying their hair, So it's the same sense. You can't just jump to the end of it. You got to go through the ugly phase. You got to go through the I don't know, let me figure this out phase. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not that good, let me work hard at it phase. Because that's the most important phase, to where you get to prove yourself, to see what you got. You know what I'm saying? To see, you're really proving yourself to earn the right to hold the end phase. If we were in reference to hair and a women don't know how to act when they put wigs on, because they haven't gone through the phases of actually taking care of their hair. You know what I'm saying? So they'll walk around and fan it and play with it, and because they don't know what it takes to have real long hair like that. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody with finances. That's why wisdom try you like that, or anything within that regard, which is wisdom. When you're in this truth and you want to learn any category, wisdom is going to try you. So once you get to the perfectionist portion, or the portion of the room of masteries, for lack of better words, you've been tried. You've earned your way there. Okay, you didn't give up. You reassessed. You got knocked down and you got back up. So once you get to that point of you got it under control, to where you can do certain type of lessons that you aspired to do, months ago, without even thinking, like, man, I want to construct my lessons better. And the first trial is going to be hard. You're digging and you're looking at formats and how to do it, and you do it wrong, and then you learn. And then once you get to that point that you can do it without even thinking, you could be talking to somebody on the phone and you just jotting down scriptures and things like that. And it's just second nature. Then once the trials are getting to that point, you really value the importance, of getting to that point. But if you just gotten there, and that happens to a lot of cats in this truth that fall out, they start thinking themselves to be somebody, not realizing that it's hard work to get there. But we've been placed on fast forward through the apostles. So therefore you start thinking that, all that hard work is you, and you don't appreciate it. You start being a tyrant. You want to use it for lucre, filthy lucre's sake, such as like the Sakari, or even, real Sakari is the focal point right now through the Spirit, where they learned from the apostles on fast forward, and they start saying, well, you know what, I can do this and do that with this, because they don't appreciate the value of this gospel because they haven't gotten it out the mud. They haven't went through the trials and tribulations of studying and knowing that you can't just give this truth, give not that which is honorable to another, even though that's talking about another nation. Also, it's 2/3 of our people, giving a name to just random people because you want to shoot out information, or you just want, to sell your t-shirts or things like that. That's why it's important, if you strive for the masteries, you strive lawfully, because if you strive unlawfully, you can't mix righteousness with nigga shit. It's never going to pan out well, man. It's never going to pan out well, especially dealing with the Spirit of the Most High, man. You're going to start gathering people, the wrong people. And when you gather the wrong people, you're going to get wrong results automatically, But I thought the quote was very profound on, just really getting up off your tail, and stop letting your mind block you from getting to where you need to be, but doing it with a clear conscience, man, because everything that you do that's new you're gonna be anxious or not anxious, you're gonna have anxiety about, because you never did it, man. But as long as you have a goal, a point to what you're doing, and it's not selfish or niggerish, you'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? When you fall, that's a part of the process. Okay? If you're striving to be a better brother, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna step on toes. You're gonna be in somebody's way, or if you're striving to be a better reader, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna do things. You may project your voice too hard. You may try to, get the scriptures too fast, and then somebody might be like, hey, calm down. That's your lesson right there. Don't take it as a smite to the face or disrespect. That's a part of the trials. Hey, slow down. That's letting you know, all right, yeah, just slow. Okay, I gotta adjust my speed. All right, you're yelling too much, or you're yelling in a certain setting, like, hey, calm down. Oh, hey, speak up, or hey, be confident. These are lessons that we go through as we're trying to do something that we aspire to be in a mastery form, but while we're in a foolish state, in a low state, a silly or ignorant state, we're learning. Okay, oh, don't do that like that, or don't say it like this. You start learning how to enunciate your words better and different things like that, man. Even when you're teaching, man. Me personally, I would go back and watch my videos, or go back and listen to my audios to make sure that what I was trying to convey was said. And if I don't convey it, I scrutinize what could have been the openings, what could have been the misunderstandings from using too many pronouns, or stopping from talking and not having a format to be able to be consistent and fluent in my speech, So these things are very important if you want to convey the mastery of a situation. But at the end of the day, as long as you're speaking in sincerity and in truth, and you're doing things in sincerity and truth, the Lord will guide us, at the end of the day. So it's not a big deal. It's not something to lose sleep over. Just do it. As long as you do it in sincerity and in truth, the Lord will guide you and put you in a position. When you're doing in sincerity and in truth, and you're trying your best to do, like I said, maybe speaking, for example, and you're trying to sincerely do it, the Lord will put the Spirit on somebody to reprove or correct or guide you, and that guidance may come through reproving, correcting, or sitting down, or a video, or a random video, or, put the Spirit on you in your sleep, to say, hey, you do this too much, or you do that. It's not just you wake up and you're just speaking. You're speaking better. It's not like that all the time. Sometimes it can happen like that, where the Spirit will hit you and you just rolling. But, as far as a fundamental control in a journey. The Lord will put messengers, angels in your lives to get where you need to be, because remember, the Lord knows what we want, what we desire, just the same as, the wisdom when Solomon asks for the ability to guide the people, the Lord put the spirit on him to go into things, to study and get into all kind of things. All right. And that's what helped him how to guide the people, because the Lord put the spirit on him to actually start to be inquisitive of everything in a fair manner to understand. You know what I'm saying? Now, in a negative sense, that inquisition had him going to the left-hand side and going to bad things too, So you got to keep your balance. You got to keep things sincere and pure. Okay. But I just wanted to say that, hey, you know what? Salaki, before I say that, through the spirit is in my mind when I was talking about Solomon, it brought up Adam in my mind to, they wanted to know the knowledge of good and evil, which is what it says, you shall know the knowledge of good and evil, and you shall be like gods, which is the awesome ultimate mastery within us. But look at what we had to learn. You know what I'm saying? And we pretty much have to do a lot of falling and getting up in life to ultimately learn how to be like gods. Knowing the knowledge of good and evil, man. To get to our perfect state, we have to do a lot of falling and getting up in life as Israelites, as a nation, going all the way back to Adam and Eve, of eating that fruit of knowledge of good and evil. So pretty much nothing is acquired without you earning it, without you getting it out the mud. If you don't get it out the mud, you won't appreciate it, because, hey, going back to Adam and Eve were in a perfect state, and you have to have no appreciation at some point to want more when you're already in a good state. The Lord gave Adam and Eve everything. Adam didn't have to till the ground to bring forth fruit. The dew and everything brought the fruit forth and everything, right? But since that was underappreciated, he had to go through the stages to appreciate it, which is better because you understand more about everything when you know about the good and the bad of it. Okay? And that's why there's nothing wrong with going through things the hard way. Now we should be prudent to where we shouldn't invite every single thing to go through in the hard way. We should be wise enough to take admonishment and listen, so you don't have to experience everything, and then you shouldn't, don't be so much of a perfectionist to where you're not willing to engage in nothing because you want to get everything right. Don't try to be a smart ass or a know-it-all to the point you project this image and you never be actually smart because you just want to appear smart. So you don't say nothing. Brothers could be talking about something that you don't know nothing about, that you really want to know something about. And because you want to sound like you know it with them, you don't ask no questions. And you lose that opportunity of increasing in knowledge. It's all about sincerity and truth, man. Even if your worst nightmare comes to fruition, oh man, you don't know this guy here, like that don't matter, man. Long as you have, like I said from the get-go, long as you have purpose, I'm just trying to learn this so I can know it. I don't care what you say. It wouldn't affect you as much if you had purpose. It really wouldn't affect you at all. If I'm coming in the gym, I don't know nothing about boxing and I want to be a unified champion. I'm jumping rope. I never jumped rope a day in my life. Oh, look at him. Look how he's jumping rope. It won't bother you because you I gotta be a unified featherweight champion. So you can laugh. Yeah, laugh now. Whatever, but I'm gonna stick to it. And then the longer you stick to it, the better you get. You're gonna hit yourself on the legs. The rope gonna get caught up. You're gonna whap yourself. It's gonna wound up. And then from ropes, you learn how to get in the boxes thing. You go through the trials of that. And then you learn how to punch. And then you learn how to get hit. Then you learn defense. Then blah, learn the hard work, eating, all that all the way up until getting, to actually fighting. And now it's hot. Now you got to learn how to fight with headgear on. Now you got the pressure, all this. But if you have a goal, you don't really mind going through that. But if you're just going through the wins and you're just doing it to be seen, then every failure is going to feel like the worst case scenario. It's going to feel like everything is going to shit if you're striving not lawfully. Okay? If you're striving to be seen, you're striving for the moment. You have no purpose. You're doing it in all vanity. You're doing it in the negative connotation of being a fool, blowing hot air. Something it says having no practical results, just doing it to be seen. Hey, look at me, not to accomplish a goal, man. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, man. In the sense of encouraging brothers to, whatever you aspire to be within this gospel, get up and do the things that it takes to get there, and understand that you're not going to be successful at it in the first go around. You're going to look crazy, just the same as us being in this gospel of teaching, man. We look like fools to the people. We're fools for Yahweh Shai's sake, but we love it. And look at how we've progressed. Look at how the world has adjusted, to us. YouTube and everything. At first, we was just niggas yelling with the Bible in our hands. Now we're a certified threat. Why? Because of the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And we're not a physical threat. I'm not saying in the sense of that, but we're a threat to the doctrine and the spirit of Satan. Okay? Which the spirit and the doctrine of Satan is flowing through Esau and the beast system. Okay? And we're dramatically disrupting that through putting out the truth of the gospel, to the point that they're calling it misinformation. They're trying to pass laws to stop brothers from congregating, and different ways to demonize the work of the Lord. All right. But when it first started, it was just like, these guys blowing it off. Of course, the elite, they may have took it as a little, but I'm pretty sure they didn't think it would have grew to this point. And as long as we stay consistent and become fools for the Lord, that's what we'll continue to grow in our perfection, man. As long as we strive lawfully. Because as soon as you don't strive lawfully, you're going to turn into a Zabak. You're going to turn into a Sakari. You're going to turn into a Nate. You're going to turn into a Yohana, where they have some truth, some camps more than others, but they veer off into the gravel. You know what I'm saying? They veer off the road, and that, a little leaveneth the whole lump, man. So consistency is key, man. That's the last thing I'll say to that. So with that being said, man, call Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai B'Hara Kakadash, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kakadash Blakathum. Hey, Shalom.